recording.
Me too. Karma fam.
Hi, Indra.
Hi, Deanna.
Hi, Karma fam.
Oh my gosh. So we just recorded an amazing interview with Brian Benny of Family Karma.
We did. We spent some time with our new friend.
Our new buddy. And we're just teasing that because that'll be our episode next week. But this week, we also have another person from Family Karma, the one and only Raj Vaswani, who is Monica's dad from the show, who he was featured...
Simba's dad.
He was featured pretty well in the show, I thought.
Sweet as pie. Exactly how you'd imagine.
Like, what you see on the show is truly what you get in real life over Zoom for us.
Over Zoom.
We really what a wonderful, nice person. We talk a little Family Karma throughout the conversation, but what we invited him on for, which was really fun, was to recap episodes 5 and 6 from the Fabulous Lives of Bollywood Lives on Netflix now, all 8 episodes of the first season. And on Instagram.
We have 2 more to go.
And I am seeing the women are filming season 2.
What?
As we speak.
You didn't even tell me this.
I didn't? Oh my gosh.
No.
I put it on Instagram. Like, they're all over on Instagram.
I'm excited.
I am really excited.
I need more stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I need glamour. I need glitter. Mm-hmm. I need chunky.
Chunky.
I just need to say chunky.
It's so funny that
Well, never forget when it's like, okay, so I'm like this white person, right? Like watching the show and they're like, oh, Chunky. And Chunky shows up head to toe tie-dye.
Oh.
Which again was probably designer tie-dye worth more than
your house.
Anything. My house, all of my closet. And so it's like Chunky has forever been, he's iconic. And I've never even heard, I don't even know one movie he's in.
No, but
not one.
But Raj Uncle, I'll call him that because I can't just
he breaks it down.
He has some more insight into these people because he kind of was more aware of the Bollywood scene in the 80s and 90s than I think than I was. And so he gives some good context for those of us who don't know as much about these people's background from the show. And it's just awesome to get his perspective. He was so lovely. It's such a nice chat. And I mean, I think that's all we really have to tell you, other than next week, make sure you are ready for our episode with Brian Benny. Going to be great.
This is huge.
I also just want to pour one out for Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas.
Oh, you're bringing that into this space. And I appreciate that. And I think we should have maybe even started the intro.
Well, people
with this. I mean, it's breaking news today. We're recovering. Okay. It hit us in the face because Indra and I.
Yes. I mean,
I don't know if I was a fan of that couple.
Well, I think I talked about, at least on one episode, that Ben Affleck is my number one celebrity crush.
Right.
Since I was 13 years old. So, and I loved Jay Garn when they were together.
I love when he was with J-Lo, and he spoke out about that relationship
recently
this week.
About the sexism, the misogyny, the racism, all of it.
It's so awful. And how basically the paparazzi in the comments ruined their relationship.
I know.
It didn't have a prayer in heaven.
So what happened with him and Anna? I didn't even actually read.
So I actually don't know. I mean, they were the COVID couple.
They were the COVID. Like those images.
The Dunkin' Donuts COVID couple If we don't in the future reference Dunkin' Donuts,
Yes.
when we talk about this moment in time with this couple,
I know.
we're not doing our job.
No. It
makes me want to have a cup of Dunkin' right now, just talking. What does it? You know what I mean?
It totally does. I think Ben is probably just like crying in a bath of donut holes and coffee.
And there's nothing I appreciate. Again, former smoker, used to smoke a pack a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that makes me happier than Ben Affleck's ripping a butt, masked down, holding a Dunkin'.
I think I'm going to have to just put together a little, like, the 2020 Ben Affleck photo collage. I'm sure it's already been made, but
anyway.
So anyway, that is what's going on in pop culture. Just a quick pouring one out.
We have to add a little pop culture.
Just a dip.
Just a dip.
We also
are ready for COVID to be over. Thank you.
Yes.
We're ready for vaccinations and to go down to Miami and hang out with the
100%. So here we go with our interview with Raj Vaswani from Family Karma, and also our recap of the fabulous lives of Bollywood lives. So should I call you Raj Uncle or Rajesh Uncle?
Just Raj.
Oh, well, I can't call you just Raj. There's no way I'm doing that. So all brown people everywhere will be like, no way, you cannot call him just
really
Raj.
Funny.
So Raj Uncle, we're so happy to have you. For our listeners who might not know, Raj Uncle is Monica Vaswani's dad. She was saying, actually, when we talked to her, that you get recognized more than she does. Is that true?
Wow.
We have, yeah.
How's your life been post season 1? Like with the recognition and stuff like that?
Well, because of COVID, remember the show aired March 4th or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And so COVID had just started. So we were confined to the house. And it's hard for people to recognize you when you're wearing a mask too. You know, it's been tough. But like I went to Costco in the neighborhood, people have recognized me. I went to a restaurant the other day and I ran into one of the Real Housewives of Miami, which was so Alexia from Real Housewives of Miami. So that was fun.
And they're rebooting Miami, I heard.
I kind of heard that too.
Yeah, that's exciting. Does Simba get noticed?
Yeah, what about Simba? That's my pressing question, is how's Simba doing?
Simba's doing great. Yeah, he's actually with Monica right now. He's in the room because Monica works from home.
Yeah.
So he's good. He's 12 now.
Oh
my God! I didn't realize he was
he's a senior.
Yeah,
what a sweetheart!
When he plays in the backyard, he's like a little puppy still.
Yeah,
there's no telling that he's 12.
Totally. Well, I'm sure he's really enjoyed having you guys home more during the pandemic.
And I actually also, since we're getting into a show that takes place in India. How does it feel not going back to India? Like, is this the longest you've ever gone, not going back?
Well, actually, I don't go to India that often nowadays.
Okay.
But because the last few years after my dad passed away, I've been to India 3 times already.
Okay.
In the span of 2 years. So we need to go back because we have a place in Mumbai. And, to go check up on it and see what's going on, if it's still there. I don't know. So we're excited to go back. Just waiting for, I think it's going to take at least another 6 months before we can even think of going back.
Definitely. I think I remember on season 1 that you were there.
Yes.
Like, I remember you and Monica had a FaceTime call or something, and you were showing her outfits and stuff.
Yes. I came with suitcases full of clothes for her and me.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Sorry, Deanna, I cut you off.
Oh, I just wanted to know how your family is doing there.
In India, everybody's okay. We don't really have too much family left in India. Most of my aunts and uncles and cousins are all over the world. I think I only have one cousin that lives in Mumbai, and that's about it.
Yeah.
They're pretty strict in India too. Mumbai was on lockdown again because of the numbers. The population is so big there. But they're pretty strict out there. When they say stay home, they mean it.
It's so interesting because India is like everywhere you go, there are people, especially in a city like Bombay where it's like
it's overwhelming.
I know, but it's like you can see how people, when they get the order, like you need to stay home, like that they would actually follow it there, unlike here.
Stimulus money or anything like that.
Yeah.
The lower poor class is just, really struggling.
Really suffering. Yeah. There's a whole movement about it, actually. I'll post a little bit on our Instagram about it for people awareness and stuff, because it's been really terrible for people with less money in India and, losing their jobs and livelihoods and with no other options. So,
yeah.
And that's why I think this show is so interesting for many reasons, but it's interesting, like, to watch these reality shows pre-COVID. Just like taking flights.
I know. Oh my God.
Just knowing it. It's like, it's really comforting to me.
Yeah, there was. So for our listeners today, we're so excited to be recapping episode 5 and 6 of The Fabulous Lives of Bollywood Lives on Netflix. We did a couple recaps of the other episodes earlier, so you can check that out on our podcast feed. But I was like just really happy to get back to the show. I love it.
Yeah, Raj, what do you think of it?
I really enjoyed it because it showed a different view of India. Mm-hmm. Normally when you see shows of India, they don't show this type of lifestyle as much. Mm-hmm. They usually concentrate on, the slums or the poverty and things like that. And this was focusing more pretty much like of the royalty of India. And we've never been privy to see the homes of these amazing Bollywood actors and actresses, and to see that was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, and so can you confirm that like the people on this show, they are in fact like A-listers in Bollywood?
Oh yeah, definitely, they're all A-listers.
Yeah, like who would you equate like Chunky to for people that are not Indian?
Chunky Pandey was very famous, I believe, like late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And so was Neelam. Oh my God, I loved Neelam. When I was growing up, she's gorgeous and she's so beautiful and speaks so beautifully. It was really nice to see her trying to come back into the theater, into the movies again.
That's been such a like interesting theme throughout the show. And then I thought it really hit when they're in Doha, and the man at the store approaches her like, I know you from movies.
I thought that was terrifying.
Well, okay, so that whole sequence of events, at first I was like, Neelam, like, calm down. This guy just wants to take a picture with you. Like, why are you acting so weird? But you could then, when you see him come back at the bar, it's like, oh, her like spidey sense was like going off. Yeah. She like could tell that there was something not quite right about. Right.
And plus, they were in a different country.
Yes.
Where the laws are different. Mm-hmm. She was more concerned about that because they're very strict about how men interact with women in public and things like that. So
yeah, I mean,
when I was in Dubai, and I was just like, okay, we have to really watch our back there and be careful with what we say and do.
Do you think any of these women have bodyguards in India?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They live in these amazing high-rise buildings where security is very tight. And I think, like Neelam is a Bollywood actress herself, but the others, their husbands are more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe they have some type of security when they're on set or going around.
And that's the thing. Who's Seema's husband?
Seema's is Sohail Khan.
Okay. And can you tell us about him? Because he hasn't really been in the show so much.
That's true. He's been the least featured, I think.
They didn't show him too much. And so he's actually pretty much royalty too, because his brother is Salman Khan.
Yeah, who's huge.
So, yeah.
Okay, so he's
One
huge.
of-
Salman Khan is like a
Right.
Tom
And then
Hanks.
also, let's see, she's also a fashion designer, so deals with all of these movie stars and wealthy people. So
Mhm.
I don't think Sohail Khan was in too many movies. Don't quote me on that exactly, but
I didn't recognize him.
Really?
I didn't, but like he definitely has that Bollywood look. Like he's like super muscle man, like totally, and like their marriage seems the most kind of like they're just married because they're married, but they don't live together anymore, and it seems like they live kind of separate lives in general.
They didn't touch on that too much, like are they divorced or not, or
I know. I wish they had gone into that a little bit more.
So I'm just gonna be the white person that digs. Like Mahip's husband's huge.
Mahip's husband, yes.
Sanjay,
okay.
Yes.
He's really big.
He's very big. His brother is huge, Anil Kapoor.
Okay.
Also Bollywood, royalty there. Sanjay Kapoor has been in quite a few films. I don't think that many now. Time has gone by, but he did mention in the show that he's working with Karan Johar on a project with him also.
So Karan was the guy who had lunch with them in like the second episode. Is that the same Karan or is okay? So when he was talking about nepotism, I wasn't totally following what was going on there. Was it Me too. Karan is a friend and I'm kind of riding off his coattails? Like I didn't even really know what he was celebrating.
I think about a year or two ago, there was a whole big issue in India, in Bollywood movies about nepotism, how you were the child or family member of an A-list star, then you got into the movies. But if you were just fresh off, and didn't know anybody, you wouldn't get in as easily.
Okay.
There's a huge conflict about that. And, my view on that is that if you're going to be a famous movie star's child, of course you're going to get in easier because, people want to see that too. Like let's say for instance, Amitabh Bachchan's kids, you see them, so it is easier. But I look at it that the parents led the pathway for them.
Yeah, and that happens in the U.S. too.
That's so apparent in the U.S.
But there was a huge deal about that.
It is more pronounced, I think, in Bollywood, though. I mean, it's like
I can't believe how many people you guys are connecting. Like, I didn't know it was like this at all.
Oh, they're all related. It's true, and now you're seeing with Shania and Ananya. The daughters of Bhavna and Mahip, like they're now like the next generation of Bollywood. Like they're huge already, and it's definitely because of where they come from. It's not because they're not like talented or beautiful or whatever. They are, but it's like, but you're so right, Raj Uncle, that like, if your parents are doing that, like just like any profession, like, a lot of people who are lawyers, like their kids might get into the law profession more easily and things like that.
And it's not that every child of that person is going to go into Bollywood movies. They may not want to do it too. So, it's to each their own, right?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so some of the other things that happened in these episodes, what did you guys think of the beach cleanup scene?
I couldn't believe how much garbage there is.
Oh, I actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because the minute you step into an Indian city, the first thing you'll notice is there's garbage everywhere. Like litter is a huge issue. Yeah. And I've actually never been to a beach in Bombay because I'm like, what's the point? They're probably all junk, and I don't know. What is that true? Like, are there beaches there that you can go to and like lay out and hang out in?
Well, like if you go to Goa,
yes,
it's beautiful there. They're all pristine beaches and 5-star hotels and things. But in Mumbai, I've been to Juhu Beach, and it's pretty clean there. And then Chowpatty, which is at Marine Drive, we can actually see Chowpatty and Marine Drive from our home in India.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Okay.
And it's pretty clean there. There are times where, there is going to be a mess. And I think the infrastructure in India is not as to where it should be because of the population. They just can't keep up with it.
Yeah, the population is so intense that it's like.
Well, Indra, do you know when I'm watching this, I keep thinking of what you're telling me because in New York City, like celebrities are walking around everywhere, rich people
Right.
are walking around, and you were telling me that these women and all these families are not really walking.
No.
They have their own cars and drivers.
Yeah, cars and drivers, like anyone of a certain class has a full-time driver that
Yeah.
takes them everywhere. And if you want to go walking, you have to belong to like a club or an area where you can go and take a walk.
Within the
That
confines of
is
your compound, like
wild.
where we live.
Yes.
We have a huge compound of 5 buildings, and it's completely gated with security, so it's very easy to go inside and walk around. We have our own walking area for everybody too, and a jogging path. So it depends on which area you live in.
But they're not going across the street to go to the Duane Reade
No.
or
No.
the CVS.
No,
You
and
know?
that is a huge difference. I think you don't see that just in India, but in a lot of the developing world is that unfortunately, like
Yeah.
the higher classes are kind of cordoned off from the lower classes, from like, outside and dirt. And in this case, like there is litter everywhere. I mean, the amount
Yeah.
of trash on the streets in India it's everywhere. And so I think, the beach cleanup thing is great that they were doing it. And I wish if more people did that, maybe it would help. But it's like, you think about all these things like on the beach that they're in the ocean, like polluting all the wildlife and
Well, and the fact that they were saying they do it every Saturday or whatever, and there was that much garbage
yeah.
for like a week's worth.
That they brought it
know.
up though, because that's a good way to talk about these issues. And I will say though, in Mumbai has gotten a lot better. It has completely changed, but not to where it should be exactly.
Why do you think so? What was that change that happened?
I believe I'm not too familiar with the government or that much in India, but I believe when Modi became prime minister, he did a lot of initiatives to change these things. Like he also did the restrooms, public restrooms. There aren't that many out there, and people do. They're going on the streets then. So he promoted that, and also having a cleaner India. And so because of those promotions that he did, things are changing finally.
Yes, and it's not just litter. I mean, I think carbon emissions are a huge issue, and so
right, I could see that.
Like they've tried to make all of the the rickshaw taxis like emission free and stuff like that to try and reduce. Because I mean, you think the smog in Denver is bad? Like,
oh, that's not.
You have no idea.
I was so naive. I was like, it's so cloudy, and my husband's like, that's smog.
No, but if you drive around Bombay, like on a bad day, on a bad pollution day, you'll be like very close to like a high-rise building and you won't really be able to see it.
That is wild.
Yeah.
There last every day on my phone, I would check the weather and it would say very unhealthy air quality.
So that's like a really crazy.
But that's like Mumbai and Delhi, the higher populated areas. But if you go to the other areas where there's not that much population, it's beautiful. There's no pollution.
Yeah.
It's not as dirty either. It's just these cities are just overpopulated.
I mean, it's a gorgeous city.
Yeah, Mumbai has a lot of nice areas, a lot of temples that you can visit, and from the India Gate in Kolaba, which we can see from our home actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
The little boats to take you to the Elephanta caves, and a lot of culture in India.
Yeah, there's a lot of beauty in it. It's just so different from the US.
Right.
So, that is something. And when we're seeing these women's lives, I mean, we only see I think you noted in one of our earlier episodes, Deanna, that like we see them inside so much, and that's
that was I was confused about why they were in their apartment so much.
Let's see. Then Maheep and Sanjay met for a drink, and we kind of talked about the nepotism thing and whatever. And they sort of addressed the like. I love Maheep. I think she's my favorite.
She's my favorite.
She so like says exactly what she's thinking and feeling. She's like when later on when Neelam was like, you know, do you think you ever could have gotten into acting if you hadn't gotten married so young? And she was like, yeah, I think I could have, but and Neelam was like, well, are you interested now? And she's like, fuck no.
No way. No way.
She has a fantastic life.
No. Oh, I know. Their lives look fantastic.
And I love how she was just like, no way. I'm like, let me do me. I'm happy. And I loved how she was just like, Sanjay, you were being such an idiot about that MILF conversation.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable for them.
She was like, I think it's a compliment. I don't know what's up with you. But then there was the cooking class with, so do you know who that woman was, Navina?
Oh my God.
She was with?
She is an icon, actually.
Yes. Okay.
She was in a lot of Bollywood movies. There's a movie, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a song that she did with Akshay Kumar. He's a buddy, hai mast tu cheez.
Oh, yeah. I know that song.
Okay, so she was in that movie and she danced to that.
Okay. So
now do you remember? Okay. Yeah, she's amazing. And she's actually on Instagram.
She's stunning.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Very, very
90s. That's what she said. She's like, I was a 90s icon. Neelam was an 80s icon.
Yeah.
And it seems like she's kind of taken a back seat and she's okay with it.
What I found is that when the actresses get married, they end up taking a back seat because then they want a family, they want children. So they're not into the movies anymore. And they kind of really completely take a back seat. And I think now some of them are reviving their careers. Like I think.
So what do you think? I think Deanna and I feel like Neelam really doesn't want to act.
I wish she would, because I think she's very nice. She's incredible.
Would Neelam be on a television show too, or all these people are just doing movies?
It's just movies. It's different careers, I think. And I think it's like that here too in the States. You know, either you're doing TV or the screen.
Mm-hmm. I think it's changing a little bit now with
like Netflix, big budget,
and HBO and like these higher profile TV outlets. But totally, I think that's true. Neelam, like, I think she's so gorgeous.
Oh,
she's
they all are.
I like that.
But I love how like in their conversation at the cooking. First of all, I love that they were like, we don't actually want to cook anything. Like, you just do it for us. But I also love that they were like, you know, I'm like talking to these people and they like want me to do an audition for a movie. Right. Like, are you kidding?
Before it was just handed to them, the role. You know, they didn't have to audition for it. They just got it.
Yeah, they're like, you've seen me in this big hit movie. You know who I am. Like, just hire me.
I thought it was interesting how Neelam was scouted. Basically.
Yeah. Oh, you mean when she was 15?
Yeah, she was scouted. Someone saw her in the building, and I don't remember who, and was like, "Oh, I want you to play this part."
She said the person's name, but I didn't recognize who that was.
I thought that was an interesting conversation. How Maheep was like, "Well, you know," and Neelam in that same conversation said, "You know, going through what I went to, would I want my daughter Ahana to get into this?" And she said, "No." Yeah. And then Maheep was like, well, I've watched Sanjay go through it. I know how hard it is. And I'm kind of like, I'm sure Sanjay faced a lot of things, but like Neelam was a 15-year-old girl who grew up in this industry. Like the things that she must have experienced as a young woman in the Bollywood industry. Yeah. I don't even... I mean, she probably has some pretty intense stories. So I was kind of like, Maheep, I don't think you actually know what she went through, but they were trying to relate.
I think sometimes it's like, you know, when you're a parent, which we all are, it's like you want to it's sometimes hard to think about those things with your kid, because especially with Mahip's daughter, Shania getting into, she wants to be an
Yeah.
actress. So, maybe she just can't think about that because it's too close to home.
That's a really
Yeah.
good point. That's a really good point.
Well, it's amazing, like, how social media is taking, the next, I don't want to say nepotism, but the next generation, and just exposing them right away.
Yes.
Raj, you've seen it probably with Monica. Like, social media makes you so accessible.
Yes, it does.
And
It's a good thing and a bad thing too. Be a little careful with what you post.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think twice because you don't want to offend anybody either.
yeah.
Nowadays, you have to be politically correct. Otherwise, if you say something wrong, it can totally ruin your career too.
Do you ever get, I'm sorry, I'm asking a parent, just because your daughter's in the public spotlight. Do you ever get worried about things regarding, because she's so out there? Like, I couldn't imagine being a parent. And
It was a bit of an issue with me in the beginning, but I think, well, the show released during COVID, so we're stuck at home. We don't have to worry too much.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But again, Monica's a very sensible,
Yeah.
Yes.
very smart as far as how to handle herself. She doesn't put herself out there for a lot of things that she's not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
What her limits are, and so hopefully, everything will be okay once we are done with COVID, and I'm sure they're going to be going out on press tours and all kinds of
Right.
things,
Yeah.
but um I do, sometimes worry at night, like what's going to happen,
Of course.
Parents' job, right? You worry about your children and you're concerned for them
Of
24/7.
course. Exactly.
Totally. Well, from where I'm sitting, I mean, Monica, as you say, she has so much sense. She has such a
Right.
good head on her shoulders.
Yeah, I'm very
and-
proud of her. Monica is just a very loving person who doesn't
Mhm.
deal with negativity. She, her circle of friends and people that she interacts with are all like that. And they're just amazing people that uplift each other and help each other.
Do you feel like she got that quality from you? Or do you feel like you're like that?
A little bit. I think she's a combination
Yeah.
of me and her mom.
Mhm.
Is very well spoken to. I'm more of the shy one, actually.
Yeah.
So Monica got a good balance of both. But also, I think what was important was I've always encouraged Monica to do whatever she wants to do. And I've never, ever discouraged her for anything. And I've always supported anything she wanted to do. When the question of family karma came out, she's like, Daddy, should I do it? This is reality TV. We're putting everything out there.
Mhm.
Just do it. Life's too.
You said do it.
Yeah, I encouraged her.
Without thinking
Not
twice.
even. I just, this is an amazing platform.
Yes.
And whether you're on it for 1 season or 20 seasons, it's going to lead into something else, which I think will be amazing for you. And she likes this. She likes Bollywood dancing, and so this is a great avenue for her.
Yeah, and so before Family Karma started, like, do you watch like other Bravo shows? Like, were you aware of what kind of the Bravo universe was like?
Bravo fans. We both watched The Housewives together.
Oh, love it. Yes.
So, like, I mean, and that can be scary too, because we see these women on these shows sometimes like getting ripped apart on social media, or like really, some unflattering things coming out, or like stories getting twisted and stuff. So I think what and we say this all the time, is that Family Karma has kind of like taken the Bravo drama, and like there's still drama on the show, but it's not so like nasty and like insidious.
I enjoy that because it's every show has their own type of feeling,
Right.
and this isn't the Housewives type of setup. There is a little bit of drama, you're right, but it's more about the families and the culture. I mean, the theme is family karma, so that nastiness too much. we want to show the parents and the grandparents and everything. So
well, and that's never been done. I know you said this, but I'll repeat again. This has never been done before
exactly.
on Bravo.
And it's refreshing. And I
It
compare
is
to
refreshing.
one of my favorite shows is Chris Lee Knows Best. Such a great show because it shows, the life of this family that's kooky and fun, and it's very light to watch. And sometimes you don't need to see a lot of drama. You want to be lifted when you watch something. At least
totally. And Family Karma is also serving this very important purpose, I think, of like introducing American audiences to Indian American culture, which is, not something we've really seen ever on other reality TV shows in the States. So,
well, it's like, when have Diwali been shown ever in American reality? I had no idea what it was.
Never shown it. No. Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't get to showcase Holi during because it wasn't during that time. But that would be also a great thing. Hopefully, they get to we get to share that.
Holi's in the spring usually. So, and Deanna, you've probably seen that, like when the colors and stuff are thrown around and paint and stuff. Yeah, that's Holi.
That's so much fun.
And so everyone does that. The color. I'm so naive. Like, I don't know. So.
Oh yeah, it's a huge holiday in India. And here in South Florida, we have a huge event for Holi, and it's like the Gujaratis have their own, the Punjabis have their own, because it's just so many people. You can't do it all at the same time.
And so how long have you been in Miami for?
I've been in Miami since 1992. I grew up in Texas. I grew up in San Antonio the whole time.
Were you born in San Antonio?
No, actually I was born in Mumbai.
Oh, okay.
I was actually, believe it or not, I was born not too far away from Mahim Beach.
Oh, okay. There we go.
But I was very little, and my parents moved to Hong Kong.
Okay.
We lived in Hong Kong for 7 years. And then in 1972, we moved to the United States. We got our green cards, which was great.
So you kind of can relate to Neelam's journey, because didn't she grow up in Hong Kong as well?
She grew up in Hong Kong, yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, like, my cousin lives in Hong Kong, too. There's definitely a connection between Indians and Hong Kong, it seems.
Oh, yeah. Hong Kong has a lot of Indians there. From the 60s, actually.
Is that why Neelam's accent is
a bit different?
British?
Yeah, because it's British, exactly. Because Hong Kong used to be British territory, so we went to British schools.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then Seema meets with Jacqueline Fernandez, who I actually don't know who she is. The one who she did like a photo shoot in Seema's clothing.
Yeah, I was like 32 million Instagram followers. I have no idea who she is.
Yeah. Jacqueline Fernandez she's gorgeous, first of all.
Right. Yes.
And she's been in a lot of movies within the last, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 years.
So that's why I'm not as familiar, because I haven't seen a lot of recent Bollywood.
Yeah. I actually watch more of the songs than the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie comes out, we watch the songs first, and if we like, then we'll watch the movie.
Yeah.
And she's been in a lot of big hit songs.
Okay.
Chitliya Kalaiya. I don't know if you've Chitliya Kalaiya. That was a great song that came out a couple of years ago.
Probably if I heard it, I would know it.
And she just a few months ago, she did a song with Badshah. Menda Fool. The video is amazing. So she's very, very famous right now, and she has a following, like you were saying, 32 million people. It's incredible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she kind of had like an American accent.
That's what I wanted to ask.
I think she grew up here.
She must have, because
she's very Americanized accent.
I just love the thing I love about Seema is that she's like obviously in this like elite class of Bollywood wives and whatever, but she's just like she's such a fangirl.
I love it. That's something I so appreciate.
She's like always talking about the Kardashians and like just like I'm so impressed with her Instagram followers and stuff. I was just like, this is so cute. I love you.
It's amazing how much the shows in America influence.
Right. Which is something we don't realize living here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. And now that this show's on Netflix, the whole world can see this show.
Yeah.
Well, has Family Karma aired in India yet?
No, unfortunately, not
What's
yet.
going on with that?
But we heard, so Bravo or NBC owns the network in Australia and New Zealand. The show was aired there. And recently they announced that it's being shown in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Okay, so getting closer.
This is so wild.
Yeah, we had so many people messaging us from India and London.
Yeah.
Like, we can't watch it. And for some reason, the Bravo TV doesn't, like, the website doesn't work over there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I thought, maybe they could just log on and see it. They can't.
Well, I think Bravo maybe is missing an opportunity.
That's what I'm talking about.
India has over 1 billion people who would be watching this show. So hopefully they will get it.
Do you know that we actually on Twitter, we get asked how to watch it in different countries? I've been asked about the UK.
We do.
Not India, South America. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have no idea.
I heard the episodes are available on Amazon.
Oh, interesting.
You can buy them.
Not available on Amazon in India. I don't understand. But yeah.
That is frustrating.
Super frustrating. So, but anyway, okay. So then Bhavana. Okay, so what did you think of Bhavana's little conversation with Ananya?
I was looking at her outfit actually the whole time.
Yeah.
I was confused. It was very cute. It was like a oversized shirt with a plastic skirt, right?
Mini skirt. Yeah.
She looked amazing.
I thought she looked cute.
Yeah.
I think so Bhavana was talking about like how she worries about her daughter and how like she never flies with her husband anymore in case something happens. And like Bhavana, like I see so much of myself in her. She is such a hypochondriac. She has so much anxiety about these things. And I'm like, I see you. Yeah. Like,
would you and Patrick fly together though?
Well, yes, I'm not that level, but like the plastic surgery, like the Botox stuff that she was afraid of. And then when I saw them getting ready to go on those like plane things, I was like, Bhavana is like crapping her pants right now.
Yeah.
But she used to be a stewardess, a flight attendant, which is very... So how did her and her husband meet?
I don't think they discussed that.
Probably just like through the Indian elite class.
Yeah.
I would think. Because she was never an actress herself,
No.
it seems like. It seems like these actors who have these beautiful wives, like, they just, they're all ran in the same circles.
Yeah.
And
so you know how you hear about in America, so in 90210, I read that Luke Perry was like working, like doing parking lots and stuff like that and repaving them. And then he got the role in 90210.
Wait, did they just like see him and they were like, you?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Okay.
But like, does that happen like in Bollywood,
Oh, yeah.
Like, so you have someone who's not from the
There's
elite.
been a lot of actors that have come from nothing.
Okay.
This amazing stardom, I believe. I can't remember exactly who it was. Wasn't it Shah Rukh Khan? He was like that too?
I don't know his backstory, but I mean, if he came from nothing, like he really hit the jackpot because he's so. I mean, I think we're gonna see him later. I know you've watched the whole show, Raj Uncle, but we haven't yet. But they keep talking about his wife Gauri is gonna have a party, and I think he's gonna show
They
up.
showed a little preview on.
Yeah.
The end of this episode, actually.
So, like, he is absolutely Bollywood royalty. I mean, just worldwide. And so, I don't know. I think, like, Bhavana, what I really like about the wives, and we've said this before, is that they all are, like, they're such, like, sincere mothers. Like, they just care about their children so much in a way that sometimes I, like, miss that on
Right.
some of the American Housewives shows.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can name like the housewives like of all the series on one hand that like
Really care about their kids.
have that mothering thing. Yeah, no, and that
I
sounds
know,
terrible.
I know.
I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble, but like that's the thing that I didn't even understand about like Indian culture is just like how important family is.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah, that is very important, and I'm very lucky to have that in me also that my parents don't have. So I'm kind of also doing the same thing with Monica. And
Yeah.
I think when you have daughters, you're a little more concerned with their future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Get married and settle down, and then you don't have to stress over it too much. The boys, they'll do whatever they want. They'll find a wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the girls, you do have that over your head. Please God, let them settle down into a good home.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want Monica to be in an arranged marriage. She'll find her own. We live in America.
Mhm.
And I think that's changing in India too. It's not the arranged marriage as much as it used to be.
Yeah. But then there's also kind of a switch on this side. Like when we see in Indian matchmaking, all
Yes.
these first generation Indian kids who are like, well, I'm not having success on my own. So sure, I'll use a matchmaker and like see what happens. And
Yeah.
I think of it as like a tailor-made dating service almost.
Right. It's like a virtual or non-virtual like dating app.
Totally. Like, I mean, my parents, like, my mom didn't have to marry my dad. They had an arranged marriage, but she met I think she met like over 20 men or something before she was like, oh, okay, I'm going to marry that one, So
I did the same.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Tell us about your
Do you feel comfortable?
Yeah. Me and my mom went to India one summer. We lived in St. Thomas at the time in the Virgin Islands, and my mom's like, "Oh, how about I show you? We get this matchmaker, and you take a look." I said, "All right, no problem." So I actually saw probably 15.
Wow.
And believe it or not, I went to the first girl I met. Yeah.
Really?
And it was scary because we didn't
Yeah.
I didn't know her. I didn't know her family or anything about this family. And then from the pre-engagement to the wedding day was kind of 3 weeks. That was it.
Oh my
Wow.
That's how it is, though. It's so fast.
Yeah. It was a quick wedding, and I mean, we had a fantastic wedding and everything. So,
And this all happened on your trip to India?
yeah.
Oh my God, that is wild. Okay, that's pretty. Like, because my mom at least was living in India, And then, of course, she, like, moved to the States with my dad. I guess my dad did the same thing, though. He came back to India for a trip to meet a wife and marry her.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's wild. That's wild. Wow.
It is wild, and it's scary because you know nothing about this person.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's the way the Indian culture is. You learn to love that person after marriage. You're kind of forced to really make things work out.
Definitely.
In the opposite direction, you know everything about this person before you even get married, and then either it works or you get sick of them.
Totally. And I mean, there are things that kind of can help arranged marriages work in that, like, it's not like, oh, here's a random person for you to meet. It's like, oh, their families know each other, or they come from a similar background, or there's things that they would understand about each other. And, for any of us who have been in long relationships, you find out that, like, your values and kind of things like that matching up matters almost more in the long term than, like, am I madly in love with this person? Like, that obviously that matters as well. But it's like, what are the building blocks that make a marriage work long term?
Exactly. And in Indian arranged marriages, the most important thing before even two people see each other is the matchmakers.
Mhm.
Or the pundit actually has to look at your horoscopes.
Right. I'm
And
obsessed with that.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
You know, if those horoscopes don't match, like
Yeah.
if they're not compatible, forget it. You're not meeting that
Oh
person.
no, and you're not getting married on a non-auspicious day either.
Right. Parents, when the parents find out that they call it the kundali, you know, the horoscope,
Mhm.
if they don't match, they're like, oh no, forget it. Another one. I'm like, okay.
I love all this stuff. I find it just so fascinating. And who was the guy, like in Indian Matchmaker, there was the guy that read faces.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, that would I hadn't seen that either.
I kept saying I wanted that job.
Yeah.
You know, like pay me, I will look at pictures. I will try to read who that
was really
person
cool.
is.
I've dealt with the palm readers.
Yes.
And the horoscope is the most popular thing in India where they match up.
100%. That's definitely something that you'll see a lot.
So are you doing astrology right now? Like, are both of you, or is that in both of your
No.
Indra, you? No,
not really.
Okay.
That's never been a part of my life. I mean, I don't think that was a part of my parents' marriage, actually, but it is often something that's taken into consideration. The auspicious date thing is definitely
very important. The date and the time.
Yes.
You gotta marry when he tells you to.
Yeah.
Also.
It might be like 3 a.m. and they're like doing the ceremony at 3 a.m. It's crazy. So, okay, so then the end of episode 5 is they're all getting ready to go on their trip. And so Seema is freaking out on the plane.
And I don't blame her. I'm not a plane person.
And like, she wanted to take some melatonin, but Mahip was like, no.
I know. Why against all those pills?
Yeah. And the weird thing is, it's only a 3-hour flight.
I know. I was like,
we were trying to figure out. So my partner and I, he'd never watched this show, and he came in hot at like season 5, and I was like, so is this like California to New York? No, it's shorter than that flight.
Yeah, that's an easy flight.
It will not.
Yeah, it's a long haul.
Yeah,
my gosh.
Totally. I was like, if they were coming to America, maybe I'd understand.
I thought they were like going to basically like Japan, that distance, with the way like.
Literally, it's a 3 or 3.5 hour flight. I'm like, oh God.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And the denim jackets, the matching denim jackets.
Oh my gosh.
I think
they have so much fun. I think it's also really important, not to bash the housewives, because
we love them. We love the housewives.
They to me are everything. But seeing these group of women not bash each other and come together with friendship.
Yes.
I was just going to say that
support.
I love that, because I think there was only one issue at that first dinner when they got on, where they had a little bit of a blow up, and that was it. But all the episodes have been fun. They cuss a lot, but it's all fun. You know, it's not like insulting them. They all laugh. You know, I remember one of them called the other one a cow, and they were just laughing after it. It wasn't an insult. It was just fun. And these are friendships that have been forged for 25 years. They're
it's incredible.
And they're all so connected. Like you don't want to step on anybody's toes in this.
Well, I was just going to say, Deanna, you texted me maybe when you were watching earlier today or yesterday, and you're like, you know, the way that everyone kind of like speaks really loudly and over each other and kind of whatever. She said it reminded you of your Italian background. And I was like, I'm so glad that you get that. Yeah. And
the way Italian Americans talk to each other, it sounds like we're yelling at each other, but it's just, that's the way.
You're just talking.
Yeah.
And that's how these women are. They give it to each other. They kind of like, it seems like they're yelling at each other, but they're just having fun.
They're
and
having
that's just how they are.
so much fun.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about the show, is that they captured the sense of Indians, because Indians are pretty much very happy, positive people.
Yeah.
And they portrayed that very well. And, they didn't have to. They could have created drama or whatever, did in a different direction, and really opened up their lives for us to see, which was really.
I mean, my experience of Indian culture is like if there's drama, we don't get hung up on it, like
you avoid it.
Yeah, you avoid it, or you like yell about it a little and then it's over. It's and so I think that's like, on the other Housewives franchises, like they'll take one little dramatic misunderstanding and blow it up into an entire season. And it's like, it's a little tedious. So it is refreshing.
That's their formula for each show.
Yes,
they
is.
Beat that horse to death until it turns into glue.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, so then let's see. They show up at that hotel, which was amazing. And
I want to stay there next.
I know. Shah Rukh Khan has slept there. J-Lo has slept there.
I know.
I love how like there's always one person on these trips, on the Housewives and on this, that like they need to have the room to themselves with a big bed. Like it's always a thing. And of course it was
It's
Neelam.
Always with the housewives, right? Like who's going to get...
Like Beverly Hills, it's Lisa Vanderpump. And here...
New York, it's Ramona.
Mm-hmm. And here
Luann.
it's Neelam.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's just like, whatever. Yeah, I want my own space. Like, screw all of you.
Which I'm like, Bhavana, because I get scared of ghosts and being in large spaces alone, so I would want to share a room, to be totally honest.
Totally. Let's see what else. So then there was the paratrikes, and I thought it was hilarious how I think it was Neelam was like, so I saw them coming up and I was like, oh, they're like fancy rickshaws. And they were like, oh, the flying rickshaw is landing. It was so funny. Would you go in one of those?
Sure, why not?
Oh my gosh. I think I would. I think I would be like Bhavana.
That's not my thing.
I think I would do that over bungee jumping. That's just a little
I agree. I agree with that.
In something and it's got, a fan blowing or something that's got you. But a bungee, no.
But then, I mean, did it give you a little bit of pause when they were like, oh, the thing isn't working because there was a small rock that got
weird.
And I agree. That's a sign. That's a sign.
Yeah,
that's a sign. Yeah, Bhavana's like, hell no, I'm not doing this. But that was cute. I thought that was kind of a fun thing that they did. And then of course, the episode kind of ends. They go shopping. We already talked about Neelam,
stalker.
Gets her picture taken with one of the shop boys, and then he shows up at their drinks later, and it was weird. It was definitely weird. Yeah. Are they going to get into that more in the coming episodes?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So Deanna and I are like, ooh, what's going to happen next? We're going to definitely recap the end of the show. And then hopefully, Raj Uncle, have you heard anything about a season 2 or?
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
That's, we're praying for it.
Yeah.
And the feedback has been amazing that everybody wants a season 2. So, let's see what happens. I think COVID has really pushed things back quite a bit. It's really delayed a lot of things. We just have to wait patiently and hear, what's going on.
Yes, totally.
But if it comes our way, we'd be happy to do it and are excited.
Yeah, totally. Overall, do you have any other comments about the fabulous lives of Bollywood Lives?
I hope they get a season 2.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Me too.
And I think they will. That would be. I think they need to open up a little more about each of their lives. We saw just a glimpse of it, and it would be nice to see it. And
that was some criticism that Deanna, I think you were reading a lot of at the start, was that people were kind of saying like, we're not getting enough of these women's lives to make it interesting. And
I like fluff, though.
This was like an introduction.
Yeah, and I like fluff during
COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, I liked it. And remember, there were, I think it's a total of 8 episodes only.
Yeah, which is not very much.
and they were half-hour episodes.
Totally.
So you can't really do much in a half hour.
Totally. And
which was my complaint about Family Karma.
I know.
It was like,
but at least ours were an hour long.
That's true.
But it was like when it was like the 8th episode, and I was like, huh?
I know. I couldn't believe
Bravo.
it.
We got a lot of feedback. Why only 8 episodes? We want more.
Yeah.
But season 1, it's like, it's like a teaser.
Mm-hmm.
They want to show and see what the feedback and the ratings are.
Yeah.
Before they invest into another season, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Shows aren't cheap to make, so
that's true.
Yeah, all that stuff is really, I mean, you often see that. I've noticed like the first seasons of many Bravo shows, especially like non-housewives shows, they'll do like a 8 to 12 episode season just to try it out and then take it from there. So I mean, season 1 was fabulous. I loved every episode.
Really great.
It's like I love going back and like revisiting all the moments. It was just like funny, and I love everyone on the show, and it's so great. Like it's so great how featured you were, and the other parents were, and the grandparents, and the dogs.
Well, I think there's like, looking back, because it's been a while, right?
Yeah.
It was a moment of such uncertainty in everyone's life, and knowing you could go to that Family Karma space and have that, and it's not, it doesn't have anything to do with the stress of everyday life and the uncertainty. I feel like that's why I feel so much attached to it, because it got me through the first like 8 weeks or so.
Totally.
Yeah. What people loved, they said this was perfect timing because COVID just started. He was stuck at home, so they were watching it. And I have to say one thing though, everybody kept asking us, is it scripted?
Oh, really?
For all reality shows, like, is this scripted?
Wow.
And honest to God, it's not scripted.
Oh, I didn't think it was scripted for a second.
Yeah. It's all completely natural, and you just kind of, at the spur of the moment, you come up with something to talk to and talk about, and it just goes from there.
Yeah.
And after a while, you don't even know the cameras were there.
Also, like, what does scripted really mean? It's like for a reality TV show,
Right.
Like, I don't know.
It wasn't scripted at all, like, talk about this or do this. It was just completely natural, and that's what I loved about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You were really seeing the true person, the personalities of every person on the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we loved it. It was just
did.
I've said this so many times, but I'll say it one more time, that it was just like such a thrill to see like my culture on an American reality TV screen, and like, wow, like the things I could relate to, and like the little things that like maybe only I would understand as someone from the Indian American community. Like seeing it on like a big network on TV is so cool. So
yeah, that is. They said this is the first show in America with an all Indian cast.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So, we're opening up the doors for other Indians to come into this area of this type of show, and hopefully, just it opens doors for a lot of people.
Yes.
And hopefully people can see that, we are an amazing race, that, our culture is so cool. It's not what certain people may think it is.
Yes.
Because people have notions about certain races or cultures. And it shows everybody that we are an amazing world, and that we are all equal, and we have to love and respect each other.
That's so true. It's like, I think there's so many preconceptions about all minorities in America, but the only way you get past those things is by seeing the real stories of the people who live those lives.
Talk about it, have an open dialogue, and just create love from within. And that's the most important thing, I think, is like we have to learn to love each other.
Yes.
In this day and age, there's a lot of division going on in the country, and I think we need to step back and see who we are first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Individually, and start to love yourself, then you can love others. That's just how I feel.
That's such a beautiful message and something that is so relevant right now. So relevant.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much,
so
Raj Uncle.
much.
This is like such a treat for us.
So much fun. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me, and good luck with the rest of your podcast. And I listen to each one. Y'all are great.
Oh, thank you.
Very light and funny, and I wish you all the success.
Wonderful. And we'll have to have you back sometime.
Yes.
Sure, anytime.